I think Felicia when the first time she was on the or not the first time.
So when she spoon and like a BB moment, which is like a beautiful black moment. Did we get any of those in this episode?
Black.
We have a chaotic vibe moment of the
Chaotic bi moment. And you're watching Black by Reality.
Black by Baddies.
And those who love us.
This is Nicole from Black by Reality. I'm here with Jag Bains, our Big Brother 25 winner. How are you doing, Jag?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We had a very long season, so I'm just ready to unpack it with you. First question. Now, you were actually my winner's pick at the very beginning because of your like intro video. It seemed like you studied. You're like, I want this Onion Alliance. And then we saw you try to have that Onion Alliance over and over and over, and it wasn't quite working out. So I'm wondering, have you figured out what you should have done instead to like be a little bit more adaptable in that area?
Yeah, I should have known that Sari and Jared were related. And that would have helped a lot with the entire Onion Alliance. I think that was like the biggest twist of the season for me. I didn't know, I had no inkling at all until the very end.
Yeah.
That's when I realized like I was doomed from the start because Jared was a part of uh that alliance right at the beginning, and
Yeah.
that was just wild for me. The thing I'm happiest about is like I was able to adapt and figure out a way to form alliances even outside of like what I ideally wanted to come in and do. And that's something that like I was saying even coming in, like more than anything, I don't want to just be like hard headed and not adapt to anything because I know in this game there's so many twists and you know expect the unexpected. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to be flexible, and so that's what I just tried to do throughout the entire season.
Yeah, Jared was a double agent in some ways, but also Suri had so many connections in the house. She just like ended up having all the information because at some point she was literally in every alliance, which was wild to watch. My next question is, okay, so you got evicted. America was trying to warn you before. You didn't believe her, and then afterwards you kept asking like what happened. And partially it was starting to tank your game a little bit more. The people who sent you out the first time was like, he's still asking questions, then maybe we have to like put him back out. But can you explain your mindset, even though America gave you that warning, like why you still wanted to get to the bottom of that 10 vote?
Yeah, I mean, everybody gave me that warning is the issue, right? Like it wasn't just America saying like, hey, they're not down to keep you. Sari was also saying like, hey, Corey and America aren't down to keep like everyone saying like pointing at each other. I have no clue who was actually down and who wasn't. And so even after I was evicted, it was a way for me to get to the bottom of it because the hardest thing is in the game for me was figuring out who I can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted so badly to work with like a strong alliance that I could trust and move forward with. And I just could not figure out like, okay, so who was it that was actually down? Was no one down? Was everyone down? And something like what caused it to happen? And so, yeah, I realized it was weakening my game because people started asking like, why is Jack still going around? That's why I just like cooled off the Jets there, and I was like, all right, cool. Like it doesn't matter. All I know is that I was saved and Matt saved me. And so I'm loyal to him. After that, who knows? You know what I mean? I was like, we'll figure it out as we go, but I need to just cool off, like asking people.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's so funny though to watch these social games when people are like, especially I'm watching Survivor now, and once someone gets blindsided on that vote, they're like, just to let you know, I'm totally cool with this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pretend like I was on board the whole entire time. You had the invisible HOH, and that's when you decided to make that big move and put Corey and America on the block. But then you got so much backlash, and honestly, a lot of us at home were like, if Jag just kept his secret,
Mm,
that the end of the week would be so different. So can you talk, do you have any regrets about that?
not at all. And if I could go back, I would make the exact same decision. I would still tell everyone because I think my logic was sound that week. I wanted to put up Blue. She was my target that week. It was not Corey. And everyone thought that either Corey had won the HOH or I had. And the moment Blue touches the block, Corey knows that it's me. America knows that it's me. And so if I had not told Corey and America that I was the HOH, all it would do for my game is burn that bridge. It would weaken the trust that I have with them. And so I felt as though I knew Blue was going to go on the block. If I'm going to put her up, I need to bring Corey and America in on this. The thing that I didn't plan for is Blue to win a veto and to take herself off. And so the moment she, took herself off, I had to adapt and pivot and change up my plans. And I was like, look, at this point, people know what's happening, and I'm just going to put Corey and America up and still get rid of my, target this week.
Okay.
From one of my targets, yeah.
I will say it was pretty controversial amongst the fan base that you were allowed to go for HOH again. In the past, I think they had house guests like throw it so they won't get it 2 times in a row. So what are your thoughts of like how that affected your game that you were able to play and win again, and if they should do it in the future?
Yeah, I think that was something that was still, fair to do. Cam was able to play again. Corey was able to play again, like in HOHs. And so in the same way, I was able to play again. And, everyone had the same opportunity. Everyone had the opportunity to win the invisible HOH. I was just lucky enough and blessed enough to get that win. Everyone had the opportunity to win the next HOH. Again, I was just lucky and blessed enough to get that win. And so, now I'm happy that it went that way. I think winning that HOH definitely helped advance my game even further, because I knew, like, I had just put up half the house during my invisible HOH, so I knew I had to pull off that win, and that was a key moment as well. Like, that HOH was important.
I think it was very important. Yeah. At the end of the game, you, Bowie, Matt made the mafia, and you talked a lot about how like you felt like the good people made it to the end. We see this happen a lot on Big Brother, and it's Big Brother's a social game, so it reflects on what happens in society. And sometimes when like people who win, they also, I guess, and this is a theory, that this is part of the question, to be like, what was going through your mind that it took to that level, but is it something of trying to find reasons of why it came out this way? Or you really felt, I mean, you guys did say you felt like you were being bullied by some of the evicted house guests. So can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, all of that, like, everyone is a good person. Everyone's a great person in the house. Like, let me just start off by saying that. And nobody is a bully. Like, I'm someone that separates game and personal very, very strictly. And for me, all of that is purely game. Like, even the comment about no one's a bully. I wasn't bullied on a personal level. It was just on a game sense. Like, I felt excluded. I felt like what's going on with my alliance? It was strictly that. And in no way do I think that anyone is a bad person in the house at all. You know what I mean? Like, that is not true of anyone's character in the house. And so, yeah, it was more so game wise versus personal. And I love everyone to death on a personal level.
Yeah. You, Matt, and Cameron, another thing that's a real world aspect that influenced the game was that Mama Fee and Blue and sometimes Sari would cook for the house, and it became kind of like a joke between you guys in private of like, oh, we're going to keep them around to cook for us, but even if we get rid of one person, then we'll have this person to cook for us, and they cook, we eat, was like literally the words. So can you talk about basically your perspective on that kind of talk? Because I think cooking is a strategy. I think Felicia did talk about she was going to go in and use cooking to stay, but on the other side of the coin, it gives like a bad taste in women's mouths to watch men be like, no, we're specifically using the women in the game for this.
Yeah, and that's something I'll own up to. Like, that is like, it was all a joke. Like, that was never the actual strategy, but even jokes like that are not appropriate to be making, and so I fully own up to that. That's something that I think Felicia, when the first time she was on the, or not the first time, one of the times she was on the block, she came to me and made a joke about like, hey, you should keep me because I cook in the house, and we like laughed about it together. And so I think that was when I started also making the joke too, because like she had opened, like, she had opened up her pitch by saying that. But regardless, there's no excuse for making jokes like that. I fully understand that. I'm lucky enough to have a support system, outside the Big Brother house that is very loving and also holds me accountable, and makes me a better man every day. So I've talked about this with them as well. I fully owned up to it with them, and I fully understand that. And yeah, I love them. There's at no point was it that I was actually trying to keep them for that reason.
Got it. It looks like our time's up. All right, have a good one.
All
Bye.
right, thank you.